Hi, and welcome to Lesson 15 of Algebra 1 Distance Learning. This is the third lesson of the fifth week. If your teacher is Ms. Boatwright, Ms. Reynolds, Mr. McCrae, Mr. Still, Mr. Strickland, or Mr. Yates, you're in the right place. Remember, you can always rewind this and watch it again. You can stop it at any time and rewind it to the section you want to see again, or play in full and then just replay. At the end of our video, we have the joke of the day. Today's learning target is, I can identify the properties of a parabola from a graph. We're going to talk a little bit about the properties of a parabola. So far, we've been studying the quadratic equations in the standard form, which is y equals ax squared plus bx plus c. And we've been looking at how to find important points algebraically. Today, we're going to look at the graphs of the quadratic equations as they come to us from our calculators. And we will look for some of these properties: the roots, or the x-intercepts, the y-intercept, the vertex, the very top or the very bottom, and whether that vertex is a minimum or a maximum. Does that graph open up or does it open down? Here is our first graph. Here is our first quadratic equation. Negative x squared plus 12x minus 32. It's all right here. If we look closely, we can tell from this graph that each line represents 2 because it's 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. So that means our first root is at 4, 0. And the next one is at 8, 0. Talking about this and this. All right, the y-intercept. Y-intercept is right down here. And if we take a look at that, it's going by 2's. The y-intercept is going to be x is 0, of course, and it's negative 32. The vertex, well, this is the vertex right here. And the vertex is at x is 6, y is 2, 4. So, is that a maximum or a minimum? If you said maximum, you are correct. If it's a maximum graph, that means it opens down. Let's have a look at another one. All right, we have y equals 1/2 x squared plus 3x minus 3.5. If you plug that into the y equals window of your calculator, you could go to second graph and see from the table that these roots are, there's 1 for each, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So this right here would be negative 7. Negative 7, 0. Over here, 1, 0. Y-intercept, remember that's where it crosses the y-axis, which means x would be 0. But what is y? 1, 2, 3. Looks like about 3.5. And of course it would be negative 3.5. The vertex, well, the vertex is right here. That's the very point of the graph. So we are at negative 3 and 6, 7, 8, 8, negative 8. Our vertex is negative 3, negative 8. So it's at the very bottom, makes that a minimum. If it's a minimum, that means it opens up. Okay. Here's one that is actually centered on the x-axis. Y equals 1/4 x squared plus 4. So taking a look over here, goes by ones, right here would be -4, Over here, well, how about that for symmetry? 4, 0. So we're going to put that over here, -4, 0, and 4, 0. Y-intercept, right there. What number is that? Well, x is 0, y is 4. But guess what? The y-intercept is also the vertex. It's the very top. So, it's the same number. Is this a maximum or a minimum? If you said maximum, you are correct. And since it's a maximum, that means it opens down. All right, here is our next. It's 0.2 x squared minus 2x plus 5. But look at this. How many times is it across the x-axis? If you said once, you're right. So our root, instead of roots, is 5, 0. We don't have one here. Our y-intercept over here is somewhat similar. It's just kind of the opposite. 0, 5. And our vertex and our root is exactly the same. So it is also 5, 0. Right here, is this a maximum or a minimum? If you said it's a minimum, you are correct. It's at the very bottom. So that means it opens up. Identifying these various parts of a parabola and the very top or the very bottom and whether it opens up or opens down is important. They're important. In summary, I can look at a parabola for properties if I plug the equation into my calculadora, or also calculator. The roots are where the graph crosses the y-axis. The y-intercept is where it crosses the y-axis. The vertex is where the graph changes from increasing to decreasing, or from decreasing to increasing, which is a long-winded way to say it's the very top or the very bottom of the parabola. If the vertex is a minimum, then the graph opens up. It's at the very bottom. If a vertex is a maximum, then the graph opens down. It's at the very top. What can you do next? You can log into Khan Academy. You can log into Desmos.com. You can try Practice Worksheet 15 or Google Homework 15. Remember, you only need to do 3 total assignments. That's the minimum for each week. You can do more if you're bored or you feel like you need to practice. How did the hipster burn his mouth? He ate the pizza before it was cool. That's all for today. We'll see you next time. Bye-bye.